Hi guys, welcome to Nora's Box.
It's very, very important because if you have a state that's local government is working, then everything is working. Here it doesn't work. The money is they are giving just stipend to pay the salary. The salary, every other thing was being pocketed. I don't know what they're doing with it. They could not use it to develop the state. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, this time let me start with you, candidate of the PDP. Now, environment. The environment is a major issue in Anambra State, as is the case, I guess, globally. Issues of gully erosion and other challenges. If you were to become governor, what will you do to mitigate the impact of climate change risks in Anambra State? This is a topical subject. At the moment, leaders of the world are meeting at COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland. Before then, there was a meeting of the G20 in Rome, hosted by the Italian government. What are your thoughts on the environment in Anambra State?
It's honestly a worrisome situation. Just yesterday, I was in a gully erosion site, one of 6, in just one small community called Achina, to see for myself the lamentation of the people. You see houses at the precipice falling in and roads cut. You want to go from one location to another within the same community. You have to go around about 5 other communities. And that's the magnitude of the problem that we face. I can tell you, again, what we are seeing is abandonment of governance. What we need to do are enough to curb the situation for those to come, our generations to come. How do we fix this? We deploy resources within the limit of the state, leverage the power of the private sector, and release do make formal literacy even our openness and transparency. Because if you have a governance and leadership that is opaque, that people don't know what you're doing, they will not trust you enough to deploy those multilateral resources to get these things done, because some of these are going to be quite expensive, and there's some we can deal with simply by direct labor, just by providing small employment, and can cope this problem. And move beyond that from gully erosion sites to things like recycling. There are a number of things we can leverage to recycle and create renewable energy within Anambra State. I have one gentleman, Bosco, who has supported my banking days, who has gone into this area, providing the solution to places like Lagos. We are putting together a master plan to ensure that we deploy this in Anambra once I get into power. Once able to do this and just have that sense of lack of wastages and providing process improvements, you're able to save more and actually curb and care for the future. I can tell you, environment is a major issue, and let's deal with the ones that hurt us the most. We may not be able to get into what type of power the generation sources. Let's get the power stuff done. But the ones that live with us, that people are complaining about, that we can deal with, and over time we can solve the problems on a sustainable basis. Thank you.
All right, great. Both of you gentlemen, candidates of the APC, I'd like to get your intervention on the issue of the environment, the challenge. Okay, Prof, we'll get to. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Let me come to you then. It's fair enough. On the issue of environment, climate change, like Doctor said, COP26 comes up very, very soon. The climate issues are very, very critical. Of course, Africa is at the receiving end of the impact or the negative impact of climate change. Bringing it down to Anambra, the ecological challenge, erosion, and all of that, what will be your solution?
Thank you very much. I to say that, and I'll come to the solution. What I've heard is people throwing up the same problems, but without providing the how to solve it. Now the how is what we must discuss. I am the only one in my manifesto that identified the environment as the #1 existential threat for Anambra State. It's so stated in my manifesto, and it is so. And I have a huge, one of the 4 buckets of how we go ahead is environment. How to get clean, green, planned cities, markets, and communities. That's what that agenda I have really thought out. You won't believe, if you want to know the magnitude of, we talk about this gully erosion. Gully erosion is one. I was at the Semachina, and I was at Oko, and I visited several of them about this gully erosion. They are threatening, homes are falling down, and so on and so forth. Far beyond some of the gully erosions, far beyond the financial resources of any state government. Even if you spend the entire state resource to do that, that's a no-brainer. But then there is even one that is not talked about, which is flooding. The entire coastal area. I was at Anambra West the other day. You know what they were asking me? To please help them build more IDP camps in the neighboring local government. So that, because 6 months a year when it rains, it overflows and people are sacked from their homes. And we have a plan described in my manifesto, working with the coastal states there and the federal government to begin to build embankation. Even if we do 1 kilometer a year to stop these people from being sacked from their home. In terms of the gully flooding, we have a plan for the master planning of the state. Flooding is a very key one. Of course, waste disposal is another major issue, which will have an agenda to bring back to the local government and the private sector with innovative solutions to deal with. But the flooding part of it, in terms of the coastal, not just on the coastal land, but within the hinterland, we have a 3-part solution. What the individuals must do by each individual, containing the water outflow from his own compound and not letting it flood into the other city. What the communities must do and what the government has to do. Part of what the government must do is to be able to have a complete planning of all our road networks and systems and to have the final discharge points. What we have currently, of course, we're building a whole lot of the roads done for the past 2-3 decades. We've done them with gutter in between, but we now need the last mile connection to now connect all of this to the final discharge point where all this water that are coming on the road and going on, so that they don't start flooding into some places and begin to create some gully erosion, so to speak. But let me say this to you. The road to dealing with a climate environmental challenge, one word: partnership. Partnership between the individuals, the communities, and the state government, and the federal government. Now, the multilateral agencies come also with some technology and financing. There is the 2 ports of international finance available, and I have the experience on how to access them.
Well,
I hope I will yield 5 minutes.
well, quickly. Well, the timekeeper, the guy on the bell should be, in any case. Let's come to you quickly.
Now that are as important as the ones that we have already treated, and that's health. I mean, we just talked about the environment, climate, and all of that. They're all linked to health. And of course, without health, every other thing that is being discussed here today may just not work. Now, let me start with the bigger picture, where Nigeria actually ranks 14th of 18 countries with the poorest health systems. And of course, it is no secret that Nigerians spend about $1.6 billion every year on medical tourism because they cannot just get the kind of healthcare they need. What are your plans? Let me start with you, Valentine Ozibo, the candidate of the PDP. Your plans to ensure access, quality, and efficient healthcare, especially for the most vulnerable populations of Anambra State, if you become governor.
Thank you so very much. This is such an important question. For me, health and education, they rank the most important when it comes to what we need to deal with. And under health, there's a lot we can do to reverse the tourism, to improve the care provide better access, increase efficiency within the system, and hold people more accountable. I intend to run a performance-driven governance where people are rewarded when they do right and they are punished when they do wrong. We need everybody to sit up. We need everybody to be held responsible for their actions. And so, just bringing that to bear would change the entire psyche within the health care system. And there are a number of things we need to do, especially at the primary health care. Providing better infrastructure, providing people who are well trained, and ensuring that indeed they are held accountable. And then moving to that greater partnership we need to do with communities and with the diaspora. What do we need to do to bring those brethren back? Those who have gone abroad learned a lot. We have the best of medical professionals in the US and the UK. How do we create an environment now, get them back, provide those resources back, and build mega system, mega diagnosis centers, so that people can figure out what is wrong with them within Anambra State and solve this problem. So there are a number of things we intend to do for both the primary health care, the secondary and tertiary. And the intention here is to provide more access, and people can just go get their health done with, especially again the vulnerable you mentioned, the elders and the women who are giving birth. When we're able to improve our mortality, I can tell you we have a healthier environment. But beyond this also, beyond the economic solutions to this, when we have a vibrant economy, we have more prevention than just reacting to diseases. How do we ensure that people take care of themselves, including other things they need to do for fitness, to ensure that they live a healthier life, eat better food, and take care of themselves and those around them? When you deal with this, we're going to have a better Anambra for everybody. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much there. Well, Professor Soludo, what will you do to upgrade the health infrastructure in Anambra State? And, if you were to become governor, you will be a post-COVID-19, if I may use that phrase, governor. And COVID-19 is a major issue of concern globally. In Anambra here, we're told there are about 2,173 cases reported, and that only about 9 persons reported dead. But generally, there is a vaccine apathy. There's also COVID-19 skepticism. But in all of this, what do you intend to do in the health sector?
Thank you very much. One point.
Seriously, he sleeps and wakes up. How can he say that? He sleeps and wakes up because while I live in the villa, you live in the villa, doesn't live in the villa, and telling me that you see your person, you see your person. It's only when you have because you have to come in, you come in. You say you got every morning. Who started the praying in the villa? Who started it? Did you start the prayer? Did you start it? Because you did it. You came in as an interloper, trying to find out how you be there to see how you come to the president. At the same time, I want to address the issue of the child care, the vocational thing. Now, I built a vocational school in my village, the big Governorship, handed it over to the state. They refused to use it to train these children for vocational work. They refused to use it today. It's there. It's there right there. Big vocational school they refused to use it. So what are they doing? The vocational system has collapsed in the state. And he is back to addressing the government here. Why can't you advise them on what to do?
Thank you. Well, candidate of the PDP now, you will have a chance when you give your closing remarks, 2 minutes each. But before then, Valentine Ozigo, do you have the experience to do this job?
I have the best of experience for this job. Let me again recount. I am a child of grace who has done exceptionally well in anything, any endeavor. I rose from the grassroots, grew up in the villages, and eventually became the best in everything I've done. Secondary school, university, I made the best result in the department, best result in the faculty, became a chartered accountant, and became a fellow of the institute, a fellow of Credit Administration of Nigeria, a fellow of Taxation of Nigeria, and also professional. Became, worked in banking for 17 years, became best staff in different banking institutions. became CEO of Transcorp Hotels, where it became the best business hotel in Africa, and I was voted the best CEO of the year in the world. In Spain and in Greece, I was voted as Sportsman of the Year by different in different years, and eventually became the president of Transcorp Group. What this job requires is not just the useful experience, but the versatility from power to oil and gas, to agribusiness, to sports, to entertainment, to hospitality, to business development, and these are the things I'm coming to deal with. And even more importantly, I'm that person who, if I don't know, I accept that I don't know. And I go to the right people, build a powerful team, and we'll get to know and start doing it. There's never one person who thinks he knows it all. And that's what must be watched out for. There's no, once you're not humble enough to accept, and you bring that arrogance and know it all, then you don't even think for this job, because you can't know it all. It's impossible. I can tell you.
No clapping, please. Thank you. No clapping, audience. Please. Thank you. You have been well behaved so far. Let's do so to the very end of this debate. Professor Charles Chukuma Soludo. And if you can, within that, address maybe one or two things that he said, that would be awesome. But you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. I think we started very well. And despite the first part, talks about hospital, at least I'm building one. Nobody else is building one. Roads, I've built 4.5 kilometers. Nobody else. I've adopted a school. Nobody else has done that. I am the person who is running for this office, my dear people of Anambra State. I offer to you my life. God has blessed me abundantly. Traveled around the world, serve the nation, and a grateful nation has rewarded me abundantly. Why not say 1,000 back? Excellent health at this stage of my life. I want to use the remainder of my years, days, only God knows what else is left. I want to use them to serve you people of Anambra. I don't need a penny of Anambra's money for my personal use. God has blessed me abundantly. I will devote every minute of my life, every day, of the thing. I said, if I'm sworn in today, I'm running for the same day. Begin the revolution. Give me the opportunity to hire me. I want to mobilize the creative energy of people. This is about leadership. I am the only one who has done it before, who have mobilized the country to achieve those things people thought were impossible. Did the banking consolidation the world said impossible, got it done. The Financial Times of London describes Soludo as a great reformer, and the world has celebrated, the nation has acknowledged. And I think that is the one who is coming down.
Ask for no clapping. No clapping.
Now I am coming. Please. You've taken 1 minute of my. Yes, you've taken 1 minute of my. I thank my dear friends, my brothers. I don't need to be, but I want to put myself up. Go through all the halls, and I am prepared to give it to you. That which I have done by adopting a school and giving over 1,000 kids life that they don't have. That which I have done as a teacher, the teachers obviously will be the pride of this place. And I think a new Anambra is on the way, and we will get it done.
No, I mean, we made this very clear that there should be no applause.
Thank you very much.
2 minutes begins now.
If elected as Anambra State Governor, I will build a coalition government. I will conduct the Anambra local election in 6 months.
The person that is talking.
People that will help us to develop the state. So if I give me the opportunity, I will know what to do. I have an experience of 16 years, 8 years with the president of Obasanjo, 8 years in the state. So I will be the right person to run this state, goes in and out of what is going on in the country and outside the country. So I thank you, and I pray that Anambra go out on the 6th of November and vote APC. And that's what it is. There's the government in the center. This government will not help us. What has been done for us? Nothing. So we join the central government to Anambra to be attract and get things that they need. And thank you. And by God's grace, APC will win this.